World War III, the free-to-play shooter from Polish developer The Farm 51 is finally in open beta right now. So if you've had your eye on this game, or are itching for something to scratch that large-scale FPS Battlefield itch, or are just bored with other shooters right now, then I highly recommend you jump into this impressive title. WW3 has actually been out for quite a while, but has undergone a bit of a rework from its initial release and underwhelming launch back in 2018. And I personally think a lot of this hard work has paid off, as from a Battlefield fan, World War III is actually an incredibly good time when it works. You may notice it in the gameplay here, but as expected, the servers are a bit overloaded with the open beta, and at the moment, they're definitely experiencing some issues, so forgive the desyncs and lag spikes that you may notice. In this video, I wanted to discuss what I enjoy, what I dislike, and what could use a lot more work here, so if you enjoy the video, make sure to like and subscribe for more, and let me know if you would want to see more content on this game going forward, as I think it has a lot of potential to be great. And that leads me into my first point about what I enjoy, the potential. This game has some rough edges for sure, and some glaring issues even, as you'd expect with an ambitious, free-to-play shooter from a relatively small development team, but the potential is there, and I just feel it when I jump into a round. Farm 51, I think, has tapped into a niche within the shooter genre, where they've basically taken ground war from Call of Duty, Battlefield, and meshed the two together with some hardcore elements that make it feel really engaging to me. So while it has some COD-esque arcadey elements like score streaks, it at the same time does not have regenerating health, features insane time to kill with headshots being essentially a one-shot kill without a helmet, an armor and helmet system, different ammo types, manual leaning, and slower paced movement. It creates a really interesting mix of arcadey and realistic elements that makes it feel pretty unique. The beta has launched with the new map Smolensk, which you can see here, and it maintains the high level of graphical fidelity that drew me to this title initially. Really, the game is a looker for sure, and for a free-to-play title, has some extremely high production values in visuals and interface design. And even with only a couple rounds, Smolensk is by far my favorite map in the game already, and it gives me heavy Battlefield 4 vibes with the color grading, layout, environments, and assets, so it makes me a bit happy to see that. For those unfamiliar, the gameplay of World War III is again a mixture of large-scale combat with some smaller, more infantry-focused modes, such as Team Deathmatch. But the primary mode is definitely Tactical Ops, which is the large 40v40 mode that features ground vehicles, as air vehicles other than small drones are yet to make an appearance, and I'd honestly be shocked if they ever did show up, as that is pretty intensive from a development standpoint. But Tactical Ops is essentially Conquest from Battlefield, featuring capture points that must be taken and held by your team to rack up, well, points. It does have a twist where objectives are linked together, and only by controlling both do you actually receive or lose points for your team. It makes it feel a bit more focused and reminds me somewhat of Chain Link in Battlefield 4. Destruction exists to an extent in what I'd call micro destruction of windows, railings, signs, barricades can be shot through, and other small objects, but you'll not be blasting holes through walls or bringing down buildings, which is of course extremely unfortunate and is a big element that really holds this game back from claiming the Battlefield throne. Squad play and management exists though, with orders, bonus experience for following them, and squad members acting as additional spawn locations. Strikes, which are basically score streaks in World War III, play a big role, and I think they're actually pretty cool. I'd like to see them tied more heavily to teamwork maybe than just straight up kills or points, but basically all points you earn can be spent on strikes. That includes things like jammers, which prevent spawning and hides teammates on the minimap, cluster bombs and airstrikes, and up to even main battle tanks and APCs, which can definitely turn the tide of a battle. I haven't unlocked many yet, and all progress in fact has been reset once again, hopefully for the last time, but overall I think the strikes are a fun element that creates some dynamic, more teamwork oriented moments, which is always a positive. Classes kind of exist to an extent, but they're much more in line with Call of Duty loadouts, with really any class able to use almost any weapon, gadget, or secondary, but there is a level of balancing here with a weight system that prevents you from carrying, say, an assault rifle with an RPG. So you're kind of forced to use an SMG and basically act in that role. So it's a bit different than a standard class system, and I can't say I really love it, as I like me and my teammates having really defined and set roles, and at a glance I want to know exactly what that role is on the battlefield. So yes, I think overall the loadouts could be tweaked to be more in line with specializations like that. The backpack system though is pretty cool. It basically lets you carry additional weapon attachments or gadgets that can be swapped out on the fly, but adds to your overall weight. So if you want to be a little more adaptive, you make some sacrifices. That brings me to movement, which overall feels pretty good. The ability to manually lean is a huge bonus for me. Crouch, sprint, dive, swap to your back or your stomach as you're laying prone. Sliding provides plenty of traversal mechanics that gives you solid control of your soldier. However, some actions feel really weighty to me and have a layer of jank to them that isn't felt in something like Battlefield 5, for example. Movements are stiff, and transitions from sprinting to sliding or aiming are really jerky and janky and unnatural feeling, so here's hoping they polish off those rough edges on the movement system. Shooting overall feels pretty good as well, with powerful recoil and deadly weapons being impactful, with a nice layer of skill involved as you learn the ins and outs of the various weapons, of which there are many. This is a bit nitpicky, but bullet tracers I think are a bit too large and bright and cartoony for my taste, which clashes with the grounded and realistic feel of the rest of the game, but it does have a very cool feature which I would love to see brought into other FPS titles, that upon death you can see exactly exactly where the enemy got you from or how much damage each individual bullet did. I think it's a really awesome addition. The game also features a huge amount of customization with the ability to change your soldier's face, headwear, face paint, gloves, chest, body paint, and pants individually, and it's very impressive with lots of tactical gear to unlock. From what I've seen so far, it also maintains a very grounded and realistic style throughout all the gear, so no Captain Crunch or anime characters running around yet. And this leads me into the progression system, which is arduous in many ways. As expected, this is a free-to-play title and the grind is real. Unlocking later weapons and pieces of gear takes a long time, I imagine, as I actually haven't gotten far enough to even reach those high-level guns, but with how fast the time to kill is, I don't think they provide a massive advantage, but I could very well be wrong here. There is a store page, of course. They gotta make their money somehow on this thing, but from what I can tell, it's basically all cosmetic or customization. But there are strike blueprints, which basically skips the grind and instantly unlocks certain strikes like a tank. But I believe anything that impacts actual gameplay can be unlocked technically, just how long it takes to do so is another question. I'm really impressed with so many elements of World War III's design, and again, I really enjoy what I've experienced so far. For a free-to-play shooter, it hits the right notes for me as a Battlefield fan, while introducing newer gameplay elements that I'm still learning the ropes on. It definitely has rough edges, and I'm concerned with their ability to support a larger player base with their servers, continue to deliver meaningful content, deal with cheaters as any free-to-play game is bound to be full of them, and increase stability and performance overall. Gameplay elements and balancing can be tweaked and tuned, but these are the large looming issues in my mind that will secure the longevity of this game and its ability to challenge the larger FPS titles in the market. I'm glad this exists though. Overall, competition is really a good thing for the consumer, and with both Call of Duty and World War III creeping into Battlefield's arena, I really hope this puts the fire under DICE to kick things up a notch and deliver something much better going forwards. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on World War III if you've experienced it, or if you'd just like to see me make more videos on this game. Hop on, download it, try it for yourself, let me know what you think. That's it for me today, until next time.